Hey everyone, today we're going to create our first Elastic Beanstalk application, and let's dive right in. So out here in the AWS console, I'll navigate to Elastic Beanstalk. And here from the dashboard, you've got this option to get started by creating an application. So let's see what that gives us. So it's first asking us to configure an environment. But if you're new to this and you're kind of poking around, you might have started over here with applications and try to create an application this way, which looks totally different than creating an application from the home page. And this can be a little bit confusing as you're getting started. So let's talk about what's going on here. All right, so we have an application, and usually you think of this as your code, but in Elastic Beanstalk, this is really just a logical collection of stuff that will eventually create a running application. You can kind of think of it like a folder. It's a way to organize things. Inside the application, you have an environment. This is your infrastructure, your EC2 instances, load balancers, auto-scaling groups, that kind of stuff. An environment runs a single application version at a time, and an application can have many environments. So you might have one for dev and one that's a slightly different configuration for test. Next, we have application versions. This is your application code, which is stored in S3, and an application can have many versions, so you can roll back, for example, if something's gone wrong. And then we have saved configurations. These define how an environment and its resources behave, and you can also use these to launch new environments, and an application can have many saved configurations. So those are just high-level concepts that might help you make sense of things once you get to the UI, which is where we're going back to. I'm going to just continue on from this screen. If you wanted to back up to the home page and go that route, that'll get you to the same place. I think this just makes it a little bit easier to see the separation of application and environment, though. So I'll call my application my first app and say create. And it kind of looks like nothing happened here, but again, remember, an application is really just a way to organize things. What we need now is to create an environment. So let's do that. We're going to be building a Python web application. So we'll leave the tier at web server environment. The application name is already filled in because that's where I started from. And then your environment name, you'll have a default name as well. You're welcome to change this. I'm just going to leave the default for us. And then scrolling down to platform, we'll want to go with manage platform and choose Python. You'll see there's plenty of other options that are supported here as well, though. So chances are whatever application you have is going to be supported. I'll leave the defaults for this. I don't have existing code, so I'll just go with the sample application. If you do have code, though, here's where you would upload it. And then for presets, we're going to go with a single instance that's free tier eligible. So a single virtual machine, basically. And say next. Okay, now we need to configure service access. And this is where things can get a little bit confusing. So we need to talk about service role and the EC2 instance profile. The service role is an IAM role that Elastic Beanstalk assumes to interact with other AWS services. So for example, Elastic Beanstalk will need to create EC2 instances and load balancers and auto-scaling groups. The other thing on that screen was the EC2 instance profile. This is also an IAM role, but these are specifically attached to an EC2 instance within the environment. And this role will give permissions to your applications on those instances to interact with other AWS services. So for example, your application needs to upload logs to S3 or write to an RDS database, log something to CloudWatch, that kind of thing. So those are the differences, and we do need both. Now the service role, the one that applies to Elastic Beanstalk, the left side of that last slide, it's easy to create a new one from here. You just say create new, give it a name. I do already have one with this name, so I'm going to name mine my new AWS Elastic Beanstalk service role so I don't get any conflicts. If you do have an existing role, you would just choose that here, but I want to show you how to create a new one. It's actually just as simple. You say create new, give it a name, and then the permissions will be set up for you in the background, and you can view the details here if you're interested. The EC2 instance profile, this one is not as easy to just set up here by clicking a radio button, unfortunately. Now, these actually used to be created for you automatically, as you'll see here in this note. This role used to be set up when you created your AWS account. That is no longer the case, though. So you might have a role created and you might not. I know that I had one created automatically from when I set up my account, but it's been a few years ago. So you may or may not have this. If you do have an instance profile, it should show up here. I've actually got several. Yours is probably going to be called this Elastic Beanstalk one. The only other way you can view your instance roles is using the CLI. There's not just an easy way to see that in the console. But since some of you won't have it, I want to show you how to create one from scratch. I'll open up a new tab here, and these are located in IAM. So I'll navigate there. And then over on the left, come into Roles. Create a new role. And the trusted entity type here will need to be an AWS service. And specifically, remember this has to do with EC2 instances, the service will be EC2. So select that, leave the defaults here, and say Next. Now the permissions here, or the policies you need to add, there's going to be 3 of them related to Elastic Beanstalk. So we'll type in Elastic Beanstalk just to filter down. You want to select the multi-container Docker. And then there are 2 more down here, the web tier and the worker tier. So select these 2. There's also one called the role worker tier. That's not the one you want. You want these 2 right here. So 3 total policies. And then say Next. Give your role a name. I'm going to prefix mine with my new so I don't conflict with the existing one that I have. We've got a description here and then the JSON code for the trust policy. All of this is handled automatically for you. Here's the 3 policies. Everything looks good. And create role. Okay, success. So let's go back to Elastic Beanstalk. And now we need to choose that instance profile. You'll probably need to do a refresh here. And here's the new role that I just created. Now on the key pair, I skipped over that one. Even though Elastic Beanstalk is setting up and managing your environment, it is possible to log into your EC2 instance that gets created. If you want to do that, make sure you specify your key pair here. I'm not going to do that, so I'll just leave it blank, but that's what that's for. And then I'll say Next. Okay, for VPC, the Virtual Private Cloud, I'll select my default VPC. That's the only one I have. And then I'll select 2 subnets. A good idea just from an availability standpoint. We're not going to do anything with the database. If you did have database stuff you wanted to do, you would need to enable that here. But we're just going to skip this whole section, scroll down, and say Next. And then here we configure the instances that are going to run the application. And there's a lot here. We're just going to go with the defaults, but you will notice that changing your root volume type, so if I didn't want containers, I wanted a general purpose SSD, for example, that will change some of your options down here. So you can definitely play around with this. We're just going to keep things simple though, and go with containers. Skip down to security groups. I'll just go with the default security group. You should have a default as well. This is your virtual firewall that allows traffic in and out of your instance. Scrolling down, we'll just leave all the defaults here. Defaults, 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 and say Next. For monitoring, we'll just go with basic. Manage platform updates, we will not activate this. Defaults. And Next. Preview everything, scroll down, and then we're going to submit. Okay, now you're going to get kind of play-by-play action here of what's going on behind the scenes. You can refresh to see what's going on. So we've got information about S3, a security group, an Elastic IP. waiting for instances to launch. This does take a few minutes, so I will pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, success. So let's go take a look at our Python application. If you click on your domain over here, that should open in a new tab, and here's our Python application. Yay, everything worked. Back to Elastic Beanstalk. If you look at configuration over here on the left, here's everything that was done behind the scenes for us, and there's a lot here. We've got instance traffic and scaling, so load balancers, updates, monitoring, a lot of good information here. You can also see the instance that was created. So let me open up a new tab here, and we'll come into EC2. We've got one running instance. That's the one that Elastic Beanstalk just set up for us. There we go. And we should also have an auto-scaling group. Scrolling down here to the bottom of the left nav. You can tell this is Elastic Beanstalk because it's AWS EB for Elastic Beanstalk. If we go back to our app in Elastic Beanstalk and go to monitoring, there's also a lot of good information here. Now, it might take a minute for this stuff to show up, but I do have a little bit of activity on mine where I launched the page. So CPU utilization, network in, network out. You can change your time frame up here as well, minutes, hours, days, and so on, if you're not seeing the information. But it does take a minute or two for that to show up after you launch the page. You can also take a look at health over here. So this is monitoring the health of your instances right here in Elastic Beanstalk. This also will take a while to show up, but you'll eventually be getting data here. All right, now before I let you go, super important if you're following along, let's go delete your application. The Elastic Beanstalk service itself is free to use, but the underlying infrastructure, like the EC2 instance, that is not free. So we want to make sure that we tear that down so you don't end up with any surprise bills. So I'm just going to back up to Elastic Beanstalk to the top here, come into Applications. This was my first app. Just select it, come up to Actions and Delete Application. Yes, we want to permanently delete, and you'll see the message here that it's also going to delete your environment, which is a good thing. You don't have to manually go do that yourself. So yes, we're good with that. I need to type in the name of my app and delete. It might take a minute to disappear from this list, but we've started that deletion process. So that's it. Those are the basics of creating an application in Elastic Beanstalk. If you found that helpful, give me a thumbs up on the video so YouTube knows to share it with more people, and also consider subscribing for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching.